So since Disney has bought Lucasfilm since 2012, 2013, a lot of projects have come out, a lot of opinions have come out, a lot of hits or misses. And there's a moment right now where there's a possibility of things ramping back out. But it has been about 6 years since the last film for Star Wars has been released, which was The Rise of Skywalker in 2019.
Let's also add a little color to that. They've had this property for 12 years, 13 years. Um, so, yeah. Yeah. The last film was 6 years ago, December 2019. They have since stayed on with Disney Plus platform, which I'm sure you'll get into.
Oh, yeah.
But you need to add context. How long has this company been managing the IP? And what is their report card? What is the true report card? It's not in merchandise. That's not the only thing that sells. You said it yourself. 6 years is a long time
It's
to
a
go
long
without a
time.
movie. They paid how much for this?
This is a $4 billion purchase.
So you sit on that $4 billion purchase and not putting it into a movie theater is kind of crazy.
It's a lot of
Go ahead.
time, and it's a lot of time, and I also think there is a fear happening right now as well for how much output of projects are actually coming through, how many projects are getting done, how many projects have been in pre-production and have not even gone forward officially. How many things have been announced and not gone forward. So I think I really want to start getting into what is the next official film that will be coming out of Star Wars, and that is going to be in 2026, which is the Mandalorian and Grogu film. Personally, I absolutely wanted a bounty hunter type show, and I wanted something to do with the Mandalorian. And I thought it was a fantastic venture to go into and try to tap into this world of the Mandalorians
Yeah.
post Empire. So, are you actually excited for this upcoming film in 2026 for the Mandalorian Grogu? What expectations do you have for it, or lack of expectations, maybe?
That is a loaded question, and that that is what's telling about this property.
Mm.
That should be a very fast answer of yes, I'm excited because there's the Star Wars banner, cue the logo drop, cue the scroll. Um, I'm excited because it is a Star Wars story. I'm excited because it is at least being written and directed. And let's get this out of the way because I Jesse and I have zero time for grifter shit. We don't consider ourselves grifters. We're clearly not,
That's what grifters would say.
we're not, yeah, we're not advertised by anybody. But we are, maybe to the company's detriment, we are the target audience. It's not just us. My sisters. I know I'm going off tangent a little bit,
It's okay.
but my sisters. One of the fondest memories I have, and I still have a photo of it, and I've kept it, tucked away and on display for years. It was being able to share that episode 7 premiere night in IMAX with my family, all cosplayed from my mom to my sisters to my cousin to his wife. All of us cosplayed, but the personal joy for me was taking my sisters to go see episode 7 and building up Ray's character.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted them, and admittedly they were already, teenagers, much older than I was. I was 4 when I started with my grandfather. But
Same.
I wanted them to have the same experience with Ray that I got to have with my mom and dad and my grandfather when I was 4 with Luke. So you ask if I'm excited. I'm excited because it's at least written by what I still perceive to be competent writers with the mindset of the story comes first, not messaging,
Mm.
not quotas. I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to get into that.
You mean the quotas of how much projects are just being output
That
without
that
actual
and
taking time to really get into the story
yeah,
of creating a cohesive story?
yeah, that and the overall and it goes without saying the current trend that we have in Hollywood. If you watch enough of YouTubers, or if you're into the culture, whatever, the quotas that they have on people, how many lines specific people of identities have to speak in these films. I believe that, again, we can get into that later if you want. We don't have to in this one, but overall, I think that the writers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have the story of what they want to tell at the very front of their mind, being a continuation of where they've left off with the Mandalorian series. Maybe touch on some Ahsoka, regardless of whether you liked it or not. That's up to the
You mean with
fans.
the Mandalorian Grogu movie, and then tying it into Ahsoka, since
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
release.
I'm talking too much to explain something very simple. These are storytellers that are writing it. These are not what I consider to be puff pieces. These are not resume markers for some new writer to add to say that they've written or they've done something new to drastically change the way Star Wars is. You don't have a Star Wars show 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion. If you don't have the heart of Lucas, you have nothing. You have nothing. That is a more than 50-year-old franchise. That is a 50-year-old fan base. You didn't pay $4 billion for what?
Yeah, actually,
You know what the product is.
let me tie into that,
So,
because here's the thing. Obviously,
did I answer that question?
yeah,
I
we'll
hope
get.
so.
Yeah, that's fine. So let me put it this way. Disney saw the expansive portfolio of that's within Lucasfilm, and because it's not just Star Wars, it's also Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It's a
Willow.
lots of Willow. It's
How's that
a
doing?
grand amount of IP that they
Yeah.
have bought because of its popularity. The icons and characters that have been made so public to such a great fandom for decades, about five decades, and essentially, Disney, being the company it is, has bought into a successful platform. It did buy into something that was successful, and with their money, they hoped and that they could build on these characters, build a world, build a galaxy, because it's about a galaxy. It's not just about one world or two worlds. It's a galaxy of planets of different stories that they could potentially tell, and about these new characters with new writers to add to the franchise. So they did buy into it. I think since then, there has been a passing of the torch, so of these writers to writers, but a lot of these writers have kind of forgotten certain elements of what made Star Wars so lovable and available to such a wide audience of people, including, the lightheartedness. I hear people say it is for kids, but it's not just for kids. It
Yeah.
invites all types of families from across the globe. There's a reason why Star Wars hits places like Europe and United States, in Latin America,
And Middle East.
in the Middle East,
Yeah.
across the globe. It's available for
Asia.
in Asia,
Yeah.
especially Asia is a huge market on this. And so Disney has bought into this successful fandom of books, of comics, shows, movies, and with their money, they could expand on such a grand portfolio of different characters, new characters, with such access to great talents of writers and directors. And since then, since it's been taken on, I feel there has been a real lack of vision. There hasn't been a steady, cohesive story or even openness to expand on other parts of these galaxies, of the galaxy, that we could touch on that we haven't seen just yet. We've been seeing people expand on, obviously, with the sequel trilogy, we've seen them try to expand on the originals. We've seen them try to expand in between the originals and the prequels. Obviously, The Mandalorian specifically is after The Empire Falls, but again, there is so many different characters, so many different worlds that we could expand on. That I feel they've just dropped the ball on completely. There are some people that just love everything that comes out of Disney, and that's fine. If you like it, that's fine. If you don't like it, I feel like you need to be really explicit on why you didn't like it, and we are going to get into some of these hits or misses from Disney and why they did miss. So I've been talking for a little bit of a while, but last to close it out, the next thing that will be coming out is Mandalorian and Grogu, and this will be a culmination of these characters that they have put out for the last 10 years into one big motion picture film in theaters. That includes The Mandalorian, that includes Grogu, that includes potentially Ahsoka, most likely Ahsoka, people from the Rebels crew. So we're going to see, and that's going to be directed by
Skeleton Crew also.
Skeleton Crew potentially as well. We're going to be having Jon Favreau take up the helm of this film, and it's going to be coming out in 2026 next.
You mentioned expectation. My bar on expectation is sadly a little low. I am at least hoping to be entertained, but with the state of it, it's not even a guarantee. There used to be a time where you can at least feel that you are going to be entertained walking into one of those movies or one of their shows. Now that is a coin flip.
Yeah. There was such a huge rise of excitement
and that,
from the potential.
Yeah, and that's also because, again, so we go back to Episode 7. We hadn't had a Star Wars show since 2005, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
So naturally, it's been at least a decade we've had anything, let alone we haven't revisited the original trilogy characters since 1983. So the weight is that much bigger, right? The impact is that much more drastic. So
There's a
of
pressure.
course there's a pressure. People feel what they do about Episode 7. It is at least a reintroduction. That's what it has going for it, right? A little repetitive. We can all say that. Starkiller Base, it's Death Star Part 3.
It was essentially
it's a planet.
a Death Star.
It's a planet
Yeah.
this time. It's not a moon. Okay, cool.
Bigger scale, bigger, everything bigger.
There is the potential of John Boyega being a Jedi, which to this day I can't seem to forgive Lucasfilm for robbing him of that opportunity, or J.J. Abrams' blindsidedness to follow through on that script. But okay, to the point of this new show, they are going to have to explain why isn't Mandalorian mentioned in the sequel trilogy.
Right.
That's if and again these
There's a lot of
these
loopholes
films. Here's the thing, you can't even complete the thought without the fear that what if this movie is just a commercial for another movie?
Yeah.
What if this movie is just an intro to what Ahsoka season 2 or Ahsoka's movie
Season
is going
2
to be,
is going to be coming
right?
out. Yeah.
So people have Disney Plus. They don't want to spend $30 on a single ticket and then pay more in popcorn and then take the time to buy these tickets out of their busy schedules to go sit down for a 2-hour commercial that is potentially well written. That is, do you see how many hurdles it already has going for itself?
Yeah.
And that's away from the studio executives handling or bungling their own PR for the
Right.
film. I'm not going to mention any names. I think we have an idea of what the initials are. Say what you will about them. but you shouldn't have to say, do you think this film is going to be good? When it comes to Star Wars, it's $4 billion. It had better be good.
What do you think the story's going to be about?
This is going to be an adventure story. It's not going to have. It's most likely going to finish with some mention of the grand scheme, the Star Wars universe version of Thanos. But this is not going to be. This is not going to be a story changing. You know,
Universe
legend.
altering.
Yeah, universe altering legend,
Yeah.
right? This is just going to be Mandalorian and Grogu are trying to save Jabba the Hutt's son from Embo.
Right.
If you don't know those characters, watch the Clone Wars. Those were well written. The animated series.
Right. That was that was reported,
So,
wasn't it? That it was going to be
yeah.
essentially about like the Clone Wars animated
It's a
film.
live action Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That wasn't it. Is it like the story is essentially going to be based kind of similar to the Clone Wars animated film where Ahsoka and Anakin have to save Jabba the Hutt's son?
So again, it's been done before.
Like a repetitiveness.
It's been done before.
Essentially
Let's
a
see.
regurgitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.